Marquis Wagers. I am Joe Marquis. Today is Monday, December 18th, 2023. I will be previewing the Monday Night Football game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Seattle Seahawks. The Eagles are favored by 3.5, and the game total is set at 45. The forecast says definite rain in Seattle for this one. Imagine that, rain in Seattle. The temperatures are expected to be in the high 40s with almost no wind. As you can see, I may or may not be biased in this one. I'm still a fan, and I want to be able to root for my team, so I'm going to put a couple of bucks on the Seahawks to cover the 3.5. At the time of this video, we still don't know who will be starting at QB for either team. Hurts is battling an illness and took a separate flight to Seattle to avoid getting any of his teammates sick. If Hurts cannot play, Marcus Mariota will get the start. Geno is still battling a groin injury and looks to be a game-time decision. If he cannot go, Drew Lock will get his second start in a row. If I knew Hurts was playing, I would take the over on this one. But my guess is that if he does get the start, the game total is immediately going to get bet up to a higher number. So if I find out Hurts is playing and I can get this at least close to this 45, I'm going to play it. Since I'm not sure about who will be starting for the Eagles at QB, I'm just going to play the Seattle team total. I played it at 20.5 to get it below 3 touchdowns, and I got it at even money on Bet365. At first glance, Seattle's offense looks a little inconsistent over the last 5 weeks, but if we look a little closer, you can see that against division opponents, they've scored 16, 13, and just 16 points. However, against non-divisional opponents in their last 5, they've scored 35 and 29 points. This just tells me that their divisional opponents know their tendencies and their non-divisional opponents do not. So I feel pretty good about the 20.5. Seattle should be able to score 3 touchdowns at home. All of my prop bets for this one revolve around the pass catchers. The Eagles have the 29th worst pass defense in the league. The Seahawks are not much better and rank as the 26th worst pass defense in the league. I like both receiving props for Tyler Lockett. I'm going to play him to exceed his 4.5 receptions as well as his 48.5 yards. I think DK will do some damage as well, so I'm going to play him to exceed his 59.5 receiving yards. I'm a little less confident on his volume as far as number of catches, so I'm not going to play that one. But 59.5, I mean, we've seen DK get that on one play. As I have mentioned many times in my videos, the Seahawks struggle against good tight ends. Goddard is healthy and an excellent tight end. I'm going to play him to exceed both of his receiving props of 4.5 receptions and 41.5 yards. I like this prop regardless of who plays QB. Obviously, Hurts likes Goddard and sees him as a good target. If Mariota plays, then tight ends are often quarterback's best friend when they haven't played in a while. Now, last week, I played the Gainwell receiving prop, and he ended up with a goose egg. In that loss to the Cowboys, the Eagles threw the ball 27 times. 26 of those attempts went to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. This was discussed heavily locally in Philly, and the offensive coordinator took some heat. I don't think this happens again, so I'm going to play the Gainwell receiving yards prop. It is set at just 8.5 yards, which is even lower than it was last week. And this is my largest wager of the night. I use 3 different sports books. I use FanDuel, DraftKings, and Bet365. And once I decide on which wagers I'm going to play, I open all 3 and I compare the prop as well as the odds amongst all 3 sports books. Normally they end up pretty even, a couple here, a couple there, spread out amongst the 3. But tonight, all but one of my props ended up on Bet365, so I don't know if any of you guys use them, but right now they have the most value. Another interesting thing that happened while I was placing my wagers is all of the Eagles' pass catcher props dropped off of both Bet365 and DraftKings. So I think they must be worried about which QB is going to play. I can see a big change in those numbers depending on whether it's going to be Hurts or Mariota. All right, my brother-in-law Harry's 3 best wagers are all some of the same ones I made. He went with Lockett, DK, and Goddard receiving yards props. My son Joey, he went with Metcalf receptions, A.J. Brown targets, and Gainwell rushing yards. My 8-leg same-game parlay for this one came in at plus 5,500. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Joe Marquis Wagers. Good luck on all of your wagers tonight, and go Hawks!